Hybrid working is an absolute joke, and it's not just a joke for the employer, but it's also a joke for employees as well. And I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by that in this video here. Not only am I going to explain to you why it's a joke, but I'm also going to show you a little tool that we've designed at Spore to help you with regards to your working hybrid strategy. So bear that in mind. I'll show you the tool as we go through this video. Now imagine for a moment that you are a car manufacturer. Let's use a Porsche GT3 as a car manufacturer. Now I am not a car guy. I have no bloody idea about cars. So any car enthusiasts, if I get any of the information wrong here, please feel free to hammer me in the comments. I won't take offense to it at all. But let's assume for a moment you're manufacturing a GT3. What you do is you go out and you get the best aerodynamics that you possibly can. You get the best alloys, you get the best tires, you put the meanest engine on there, you stick a little go faster stripe on the side of it, you put everything you can, you spend millions and millions of pounds on creating this machine, this beautiful looking machine. Then what you do is you sell it to a British person like me, and when you sell it to this British person, we stick it on a British road, and all we do is spend all day avoiding potholes, because quite frankly Rachel Reeves doesn't invest in any potholes, and as a cyclist it drives me nuts. But you got this beautiful manicured machine in the GT3, and then you spend all afternoon on your Sunday afternoons around the country lanes avoiding potholes. That is like what hybrid working is. You get these companies that spend all of this money on loads of different technology solutions, and then they say to the workers, well, you know, I know we've gone through COVID and we did have this working from home policy, but actually now we're going to have a bit more of a hybrid policy. And you've got these workers at home that go, well, I used to just be able to start my Zoom meetings on my laptop. And the employers go, yeah, well, that's all good, but we spent a fortune. We spent millions and millions of pounds on all of this kit and all of this technology, so we're going to go for a hybrid approach. I want you in the office. Please make sure you're in 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the twats, as people like to say. The problem with that approach is employees are just buying kit. They see a Crestron device in a meeting room, or they say we need technology within our meeting rooms because we need a boardroom to be able to conduct our meetings, or we need a nice space to be able to conduct our pitches with our clients. Let's buy this stuff because I saw it on an Amazon review and it looks pretty cool. And then they buy all of this stuff and they end up with a bunch of really different technology across their spaces.
I don't know what any of this shit is and I'm fucking scared.
They have Crestron devices in one room, they have Logitech devices in another room. They don't think about where the microphones are placed. They don't think about the size of the displays. And then the hybrid workers then want to come into work and they go into a space and it's different to the room next door, which they're used to. Or the microphones don't work, or the speakers don't work, or the camera doesn't work. And then they argue and go, what's the point of me coming into work? So hybrid working is a joke from both angles when that's the scenario. What's the solution? Well, the solution is a hybrid policy isn't just some HR bullshit that people write up and say we want you in the office 3 times a week. Hybrid working is a case of, it's a strategy. It's a case of ensuring that you have a framework that you need to follow, which gives the technology solution that allows people to actually work productively when they come to the office, as productively as they do when they're at home, pressing one button for a Zoom meeting. So that framework is the framework that I'm going to talk to you about here. It's a framework that we've developed at Spore Group, and it allows our clients to really easily deploy technology solutions across meeting rooms, and not only that, scale it, but furthermore, ensure that the maintenance of all of that equipment is actually up to standard so that rooms work first time, for every single meeting. Let me talk you through the framework. The framework is a flywheel, right? It's a flywheel based off of 5 pillars. We use the acronym Ditam. All right, so the flywheel is 5 pillars based on the acronym Ditam. Ditam stands for design. The design of each meeting room is absolutely paramount to making sure that the success of the meeting room is achieved. It's no good saying, I think we need some kind of video conferencing capability, let's just put a Logitech bar in there. You need to come really early and understand what the meeting room is for. What do your users require of that meeting room? Is it a conferencing facility? Is it just a presentation facility? Do you need to be able to offer wireless presentation capabilities? How are you booking the meeting room? Is it just a case of going in and just grabbing it? Because I bet you bottom dollar you'll spend 100 grand on a 12-person meeting room, and Frank will go in there every Wednesday because he wants a bit of peace and quiet. So how do you book the meeting room? What UC platform are you using? Are you using Microsoft Teams or are you using Zoom? So understanding the needs of your users really early on are a really important part of that design. And we've got some tools that help with the design. So for those that don't know what they don't know, we've got some tools that help with the design. That's all bundled within what we call our AV bundle. You can get the link for that below. In that AV bundle, we have a room configurator tool, which you can use completely free to help design your meeting room solutions. Once you've done design, pillar number 2 is then integrate. Partnering with a professional company to integrate all of these solutions is paramount to its success. It is no good getting the office manager a bunch of kit from Amazon and saying, Sandra, do us a favour, install all those rooms for me. It just doesn't work. So if you ensure that the design is done as per the needs of the client and needs of the users, and then your integration is done with a professional party, with a project management overlay, everything is smooth from a design to integration standpoint. The next important step with the pillars with regards to the flywheel is then training. Again, great. IT team comes up with a really fantastic design alongside the architects, alongside the fit out firm. AV integrator comes up with a really fantastic design and consulting that design. None of it matters. If the user doesn't know how rooms work, none of that matters. If Sandra goes in there on a Wednesday and shits herself because it all looks really complicated, it doesn't actually matter. So the third pillar is all about training and onboarding, making sure your users know how the meeting rooms work, what some of the basic fault finding things are, what happens if it goes wrong. That third piece is paramount to the success of the actual deployment of the project itself. And here's the other thing about training, right? People, your basic integrators will go in with a laminated user guide and they'll stick it on the table and say, there's your training, there's your user guide. If you need to be able to use the meeting room, follow the user guide. The problem with the user guide is it's 54 pages long, and the bit that you need, which is how to share your laptop, is on page 22. Nobody is sitting there with a meeting that they're just about to conduct, flipping through all of these pages onto page 22 to try and find the bit that you need to find. That's the reason we take training a step further, and we issue what we call our Sportal, powered by Alpha Victor platform, which is a digital training guide. So the users walk in with their mobile phones, it pops up on their phone what room they're in, and you can very easily see how to do the functions that you're trying to achieve just by looking at your phone. So again, all of the information on that is in the AV bundle, which is in the link below. Once the training and the onboarding is done, it's then down to management of the estate, right? How many times have we got to a scenario where you've spent £250,000 on a deployment? Only then 3 years later, when the screen starts breaking, you then get a quote for a new screen, new labour, completely new equipment because you hadn't managed the warranties. So the fourth pillar of our Ditam framework is management of warranties. We onboard every single asset that we install onto what we call our Sport Track platform. That's a tracking platform that tracks the warranties and the life cycle of all of the equipment that we deploy. That's important because you don't want to get stung 3 years down the line when the kit starts breaking and you haven't realised it's out of warranty. What you do is you onboard it all onto Sport Track. 12 months, 18 months down the line, you can then start having conversations with your budget holders because you know the warranties are due to expire and you have a proactive plan in place around what the next steps are with regards to the warranty expiration dates on that kit. So that's the fourth pillar. Fifth pillar of our Ditam model then is around monitoring, remote monitoring and proactive maintenance. What I mean by that is, we use our Sport Track Pro platform. The Sport Track Pro platform monitors all of the devices that we install completely remotely. Thereby, once we monitor and we recognise that a camera is broken, we monitor it remotely again, by the way. Once we recognise that, we can proactively carry out some changes, some checks, some firmware updates. We can reboot all of the devices completely remotely. This is a proactive maintenance strategy as opposed to the reactive way, which is your CEO gets into the meeting room, tries to start a meeting and the camera doesn't work. Who's got egg on their face? IT director. So ours is a proactive maintenance and monitoring platform called Sport Track Pro. We monitor everything completely remotely. We maintain it all completely remotely. And only when the shit hits the fan do we have to send an engineer to site. So that's the framework. Hybrid working is here to stay. It's always going to be here. And it's good. But hybrid working isn't just a HR bullcrap message that's being sent out because you want to look good for PR purposes. There has to be a strategy behind it. And implementing a strategy like our Ditam framework is absolutely key to ensure that you've got the technology in place to encourage hybrid working. Now that's how you incorporate a real hybrid strategy. Now that's all good and well. You understand Ditam, you understand the frameworks, but how much is this going to cost? That's the big challenge that no one knows. Well, luckily for you, I've put together a video which talks all about that. So in this video here, you're going to discover the true price tag of deploying AV. Check that out.